Undocumented immigrants are residents, and they're entitled to have all the rights that every resident of the city of Norwalk has. As police chief, I recognize that some of the undocumented immigrants that were day workers were fearful of the police department. And we can't have that. We need to build communications, build trust. And I would send what we call our M-Cops vehicle, along with the health department, to the Ely Avenue Low Street area, and we would provide health screening for the undocumented day workers. We would provide flu inoculations, hepatitis B inoculations, and we would tell them where they can get essential services. Also, with Bob Casienda from the Center for Global Studies at Bryant McMahon, many of you know him, we were starting to work on a storefront where the day workers could go during inclement weather, so that because their feet were freezing, they were cold, plus they were running out into the street when a car came along and in danger of being hit or injured. So they provide a tremendous, the undocumented immigrants provide revenue to the city in form of sales taxes, in form of paying rent, and in the form of working to beautify the city and landscaping. So again, they are citizens, they are residents of our city. They need to be treated as such, and we need to recognize the value that they have. Thank you.
Vinny.
Boy, Washington, D.C. really needs to get its act together on comprehensive immigration reform. I'll tell you, as mayor, just like Harry said, we have it's our obligation as leaders to make sure that we're serving every resident, no matter what their stature is, because their kids are in our schools, they're sick or in our hospitals, they're misbehaved, they're sometimes in our prisons. So we're paying. So it's up to us to make sure that we can integrate all of our friends that live here in Norwalk into our system with open arms. And we need to make sure that we continue to put the pressure on our leaders in Washington to get it right finally, to move so many people out of the shadows of all of our communities and get them integrated into mainstream. Back on St. Patrick's Day, there was a meeting here with a couple hundred folks. They were all here to talk about driver's license for illegal immigrants. This room was packed. It was packed because it was communicated to them, it was an issue that they cared about, and there was an educational opportunity that was offered. So we need to do more of that. We need to utilize the South Norwalk Community Center, frankly, as a hub to reach out to those folks. Let them know that they are part of our community no matter what their stature is, that they no longer have to be afraid to walk out the door and get caught doing something. We need to stand up for injustice to humanity, because sometimes these folks are workers, they're day workers, and they work a good hour day or 10-hour day or so. They get dropped off, and then their driver speeds off without paying them. And these folks feel that they can't call the police. They're afraid. So it's our job, my job as leader and my job as mayor, to make sure that we embrace and we integrate our people that live here, because it's time. And we need to hold people in Washington accountable, because it's definitely time that we have comprehensive, compassionate, and thoughtful immigration reform in the United States. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinny. I also support comprehensive immigration reform, but I'm running for mayor of Norwalk, not president of the United States. And the reality is that while Norwalk has an international border, yes, Long Island Sound is an international border, we don't get to set immigration policy in Norwalk. What we can do is recognize and embrace the power and the vision of the immigrants that come to this country, legally or illegally, to build a better life, and celebrate that. I myself am the grandson of 2 immigrants that came through Ellis Island in the 1900s. And they're on that wall there. They came a different route. And when the immigration officials at Ellis Island saw this strange name that they did not know how to spell. They took the letters they recognized, they got rid of the other ones, and that's how I ended up being a Miklave, because the other name was in Cyrillian and unpronounceable. It's one of the reasons that in 2006 I took on the representation of a non-government organization based in El Salvador that was being run by my colleague from the Common Council, Ken Baker. He formed an NGO down there to deliver health services to the immigrants and to the people of El Salvador. And I traveled to El Salvador, and I was given the privilege of meeting with the Minister of Labor and government officials and the Supreme Court justices to talk about comprehensive work-sharing agreements, to talk about labor reform, to talk about how we as a city in Norwalk can also partner with countries that want to do business with the United States. And so my vision would be that we reach out and form partnerships with as many communities across the world that want partnerships with us, and that we become a gateway for the United States. Thank you.
Thank you. Any rebuttal?